Today we're going to go through how you can do sentiment analysis on Google reviews without using any code at all. So the tools we'll be using today are Google Sheets, which holds all of our reviews, as well as Make.com, which is a no-code workflow automation tool that lets us connect lots of different pieces of software together. Now this video is a bit of a follow-on from my previous video where we covered how you actually scrape these reviews. So what we're going to do in this video is really analyze these reviews, categorize them, all that sort of stuff. So before we do that, as for usual, we're going to go through why we would even do this. So Google reviews, as I mentioned yesterday, is important for a lot of businesses, right? Business reviews are critical for your brand and your reputation in the market. Now, depending on if you're doing this for your own business or for a client, you may need to generate reports on Google reviews and that sort of stuff. So scraping Google reviews is super helpful for that. And then doing analysis on those Google reviews is also super helpful for that. So in terms of analyzing those Google reviews, you can obviously just do things like how many Google reviews have you received in the last 30 days or in the last week, something like that, and track those trends over time. But today, what we're more interested in is actually doing qualitative analysis on the actual contents of those reviews. So AI, or more specifically large language models, are very good at doing categorization, summarization, all that sort of stuff on text. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take some input text and then we can do a number of different things with it. So for example, we might have a sentiment column. So we're going to say like, is this a positive sentiment, negative sentiment? We might have something like category. And category can be something like what type of feedback is it, right? So is it feedback? So these are reviews for Sydney Fish Market. So feedback might be around, is it around parking, transportation? Is it around the food? Is it around customer service? That sort of stuff. So you can do all that. And then as a bit of a bonus here, we're also going to do like, instead of just analyzing the reviews, maybe generating a response to the review. So if you go on Google reviews, usually you'll see for the businesses that have their things together, who know what they're doing, they will respond to customer reviews just to show that they're active on that platform as well. So high level, what we're going to do today is first, we're going to get the review from Google Sheets. We're going to ask ChatGPT to analyze it, to do the sentiment analysis, categorize it, and even generate the response. And then we're going to update our Google Sheet. So update these 3 columns that we've added here. So let me add this last column, response. Cool. So let's get into the build. So we're going to come over here into Make.com. And what we're going to do first is pull in the reviews from Google Sheets. So to do that, what we're going to do is add in a new module here, come into Google Sheets. And all we're going to do is search rows. The other way you can do this is watch rows. So basically every time a new row is added to the spreadsheet, this automation will run. So it really depends on what your overall process is. For this tutorial, I'm just going to search the rows so I can retrieve basically all of them at once. So I'm going to search rows, and I'll come in here and I want to select the spreadsheet. So I've selected the spreadsheet. I'm going to select the sheet name. And then what I'm going to do is just say let's start with 1. So usually when you build for the first time, you want to limit how many things are coming through, because if you have too many things coming through, then every time you test your build, it's going to take longer to run. It's going to use more operations and all that sort of stuff. So it's really like once you've figured out that your automation is working, then you can scale up the volume. So for now, we're just going to retrieve 1 record. So if I run this, yep, it's returned the first review. Amazing. So next step, if we come back to our diagram, is to get ChatGPT to analyze it. So here you can use whatever large language model you want, right? You can use Claude. I'm going to use ChatGPT. You can use Grok. You can use whatever you want. So we're going to come back here. I'm going to press add and I'm going to use the ChatGPT modules, but open here, and I'm going to use create a completion. So if I come into here, what I need to do is choose a model. So I'm going to use GPT-4o. You can obviously choose which model you want. And then for the messages, what I'm going to do is just say user and say, can you please help me categorize, process the following review. And then I'm going to insert the review from Google Sheets that we've got here. So which is review text. And then I'm going to say, please respond following JSON format. And then we're going to have I think we had sentiment. So this is either positive or negative. And then we had category. So let's come up with a few categories. So path, speed, transport, customer service, environment. So you can come up with more relevant categories for whatever analysis you're doing. And then finally, all of them say response to review. This will be a string. And for the response, generally you want to say, give it a bit more context around what your business is. So you can sort of draft those responses and you can give it some example responses as well. So it has a better idea of the tone. Cool, so I'm going to keep the prompt super simple. What I want to do is come down here into advanced settings, and I want the response format to be in JSON. And the reason for that is so then I can save each of these different values back into Google Sheets. And I'll return pass JSON response to yes. So if I run this once again, let's pull back the review, and then let's have a look at the outputs. So it's negative sentiment. The feedback is about the environment, which is true. So if you look at the review was looking forward to the new one opening, too crowded, dirty, and not enough seating. The other thing is you can pass in the rating as well, right? I've just passed in the review text, so really up to you what you're passing in. And then the response is, thank you for your feedback. We're sorry to hear about it, blah, blah, blah. So very standard. Again, if you want a special tone, I would recommend adding in examples of the type of responses you want to give. So let's improve this a little bit. Let's add in a bit more context. So we've only passed in the review text. So what we're going to do now is also passed in the review rating, which is what we scraped yesterday as well. So review rating is here, and I'm going to say it's out of 5. And then I'm going to say the reviewer name, and I'm just going to put in the profile name. So in this way, then, like, for example, the response to the review can reference that person directly. So it might be like, hi, Anne-Marie, thank you so much for your feedback, blah, blah, blah. Versus what we have now where we don't know the person's name. So then the feedback is not very personalized. Cool. So we just press OK here, and let's run that one more time. And let's have a look at the results. So sentiment same, categories the same. Those are both working really well. And if we look at the response now, we've got a bit more personalization. So we've got thank you for sharing your feedback. Got their name in there. Sorry to hear about the issues and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's looking really good. So the next step is really just to save that back into Google Sheets. So to do that, we need another Google Sheets module. So I'm going to click into Google Sheets here, and I'm going to press update a row. So first I need to select the relevant spreadsheet again. So I've selected the relevant spreadsheet. If I come into the sheet name and then the row number, I just want to update the same row number that's being passed in from the beginning. So it's row number here, this variable. And then it sort of maps the columns here for me to choose from, which is amazing. So sentiment, I just map it to the results from ChatGPT in sentiment. The category is the category, and then the response is the response, right? So that looks pretty good. So let's press OK. And then again, we're only running it on the first review. Let's run it end to end to make sure it works before we then run it on all the reviews. So it's all gone through. Let's come here and we can see that we have everything coming through very well. Now, before I continue, I just want to say that I'm using Google Sheets here, but if you wanted to use Airtable or a similar tool, you can do basically exactly the same thing. Make.com basically connects with most software platforms out there. And if you're using a spreadsheet, the concepts are pretty much the same. So you can do the same thing. So before I run it all, I'm going to just improve the formatting here a little bit, make this wrapped text and increase the width of that. And then what I'm going to do is come back into Make.com automation and increase the limit. So this is just how many rows we're retrieving on our first search. If I retrieve 10 now and I run it, it should be able to do that 10 times and give us analysis for each one. So if I come here, you can see that the reviews are coming in. The responses are coming in, and how sentiment analysis, our categorization, it's all working. So yeah, you can see it's quite fast. So like imagine I had 500 reviews. If you were to do it manually, it would take you hours, and it'd be very painful. And you might make careless mistakes, that sort of stuff. But now we've built an automation to do this super quickly and super accurately. And this is really good. So at this point in time, I don't believe there is an easy way to automatically respond to reviews in your Google reviews. And also with this case, we're scraping reviews for a business that is not ours, right? So potentially we wouldn't actually need the response column, but we could do some other sort of analysis. This is really just an example of what's possible here. But yeah, if you're interested in this blueprint, please leave a comment below. If you have any thoughts or questions, also leave a comment below and I'll try my best to help you. But with that, I'll see you in my next video.